check in a wee second. I'm not sure if I'm even running here. I'll just assume that I'm. So as I said earlier, you'll just excuse me, I'm still a wee bit bunged up. Still recovering, you know. So 2020, fucking squinty-eyed vision from the globular earth proponents. Spare me a wee sec here. Yeah, find my stuff. A wee minute ago. Fuck, I put it. Should have prepared that. What else here? Right. So, where am I here? Let me see. Right. Hello, everybody. Let me open it up here. It's better than I can see it there. For fuck's sake. It's been a interesting afternoon. What's going on? The channel. It's been an interesting afternoon. I think I triggered that boy that I highlighted this morning. It's been shut up. I've had a bombardment of utter stupidity that we're going to get through. So I say, I'm just going to keep hammering these people, highlighting the dishonesty and the tactics that they use. Let me just firstly, so I'm going to talk about a wee bit again about vision, things like the celestial sphere, and how globe proponents often invoke visible proofsies, but omit the aspect of vision, your eyes, how we actually see the world. And they can never quantify that. They never involve it in any of their silly assertions. They just say, look, I see something and I'm going to assume and presuppose it's my globular earth and I'm just going to run about asserting as such that it's the case. Some of these people, you know, are actively lying and they're dragging confused, bewildered people into their bullshit. And they're coming and making an absolute arse of themselves, as we'll see. The boy that I highlighted this morning, Seek Rubbish, or whatever his name is, he's been over trying to talk about fucking obscured horizons and stuff beyond curvy water and all that rubbish. So, firstly, everybody should know what one of these things is. Okay, protractor. Okay. So what you have to understand is that when you're looking horizontally and vertically at the outer reaches of your field of view, okay, it's pretty much this. So if you look here like this, you only see a straight line. Now, as you look into your field of view, things that are high as you go further away appear to descend. Okay, through the degrees until you're far enough away where it will reach the horizontal. The same is true also horizontally. When you look like that, you do not see the outer curve. Okay, so you first have to understand that. Also, you know, your field of vision is kind of like if you look at a dartboard, you know, you get a central point and everything cascades towards the central point wherever you're looking. So you can try that right now as you keep your finger here and you move it outwards. In the field of view, it appears to come towards the centre point. Okay, this is aspects of how you actually see the world. This is the stuff that the globe proponents want to ignore continually and keep waffling on about rotund, convex bodies of water, where Again, you know, what I have to point out, I'm going to use the scientific whiteboard because it's scientific, all that stuff. So, on a globular Earth, you're always at the top. Okay, you're always at the top. The floor is geometrically impossible for the floor to come up into your centre of vision like that and then cascade down like this. This is what would have to be happening geometric wise. This is what would have to be happening in regards to how we observe and see the world. The floor would have to be ramping up and then dropping off, because you'll see quite often we're looking over a body of water which is level. Any contained body of water, to any rational, sane person, knows that the surface of that body of water is level, which means it's equal in elevation at any given point. That is the definition of level in the applicable real world. Okay? Not the mathematical definition where it's equal tangent to the centre of a circle to the outer circumference. You know, that rubbish. So, they fail to realise this, and they always omit these aspects. It is a geometric impossibility for you to look over a standing body of water that somebody is claiming is on a globular Earth. On a globular Earth, the floor and everything goes downwards from you in every single direction. Now, for these numbskulls, I encourage them to get outside and go to, you know, a slope, a hill, a mound, whatever it may be, and observe what actually happens. Note that the hill never comes up into the centre of your field of view. Never. Geometric impossibility. This is basic geometry that you should be able to understand. However, it seems to be quite difficult for some people. Some people are just challenged in that regards, you know. So, where do I start here? Let me see. Celestial sphere and all that rubbish. Let's have a wee look. This is why, as I says to you earlier, when we look at a protractor, you place a protractor like this, you only see a straight line. You do not see this curve. So when we look at anything out in our field of view, whether it be in the sky or whatever, we can look horizontally, we can align this with the horizon, and then we can take a reading and we can see the angle to anything that's in the sky. Okay? Because this is representing the outer curve of your field of vision, how things apparently drop in your field of view. This is why things like the sextant are curved here. A sextant you have to align with the horizon. It's a plane geometric tool. You calibrate it to the level. It has to be level so that you get an accurate reading for whatever you're taking your reading of from the level, and then you can get the angle to whatever you're looking for. Okay, this is why it's represented as a curvature on the outside here, just as I was saying a minute ago. It represents the outer field of your vision. Same is also true for an astrolabe. Again, you hold the astrolabe like I was showing you with the protractor, and you calibrate it to your level, your horizon, and then you can get the angle to whatever celestial intangible light in the sky you're looking at. These are the star navigation charts. Note they're rectangles. Yeah, longitude and latitude lines are 90-degree intersecting Cartesian grid references. So once you have the map of the stars, you know where you are on the Earth, you can, by being able to tell whatever angle it is to whatever, and whatever time to any given star or object, sun or the moon, whatever you're going to use, you can pinpoint your position. Okay. It's the same way, all the way, you know, navigation charts, all the nautical navigation charts, they're all planar. You know, here you can see on this one they're using the horizontal, you know, to get their bearings of direction, cardinal direction. So these things are planar. They're no, absolutely nothing to do. Wait a minute. It's a whole other topic of discussion. These instruments and the application of these instruments has got nothing to do with the Earth being a globe. That was the other thing I had to show you, sorry. I've showed this before, but it's just if there's anybody still struggling and anybody that maybe new. You know, here they show you in these diagrams, these depictions, where you are always the observer at the centre of your field of view, and you're projecting the stars into like your own personal little dome. And wherever you move, your little dome moves with you. You can pinpoint whatever's in your zenith, and then you can take the angle of reading to whatever it is, pinpointing your location on the surface of the Earth. This thing is a projection, it's a concept for navigation purposes. It has got nothing to do with the Earth being a globe. Then you get morons like this, who try to show you these things, but in morons like this, what they want to try and assert to you is that you're walking out here on the surface of this curve. You're here. You're always here at the central point, right? There's your zenith, and here is your angles of your own little dome, wherever you move. Okay, so let's just show you here. So there's you, protractor. Obviously, it's directly above you at 90 degrees, okay? So, we know that's at 90 degrees. As you move along here, still at the centre of your own little dome, you now have a reading of the angle to this celestial body, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, intangible light in the sky, right? That's how these instruments are working, right? They're all plane geometric tools. Astrolabes, sextants, they're calibrated to the level, and you're taking an angle using triangles. Triangles are no curved, right? We're talking about Euclidean geometry here. These are the tools that we utilise in everyday life. No non-Euclidean, no spherical geometry or any of that waffle. Euclidean. Okay? So anytime any of these bufters waffle on about triangles and trying to mix up geometries, you should be pulling them up on it. Okay? So where was I? Let me just hear. What did this creep have to say? I'm not even going to bother too much with that creep. He's just a crackhead that doesn't understand what he's looking at. So it's very, very simple. So you can interchange these two concepts. The globular Earth wants to place you on the outside of the outer curve of the field of your vision and tell you that's where you live. Okay? You don't. You live on the plane. Your perception and your visual perspective around you is a 360 degree circle, horizontally and vertically. Okay? That's what the celestial sphere and navigation utilises. It's got nothing to do with establishing the dimensions of the Earth. You can look at the tools, the geometric assumption of the tools, that being that you're on a plane. The people who, brought these tools about understood that they were on a level plane. They understood that they were on a standing body of level water. Okay, that's why the tools work. You can't have a Euclidean plane tool calibrated to the level. So you're standing on a fucking sphere like this, and you go, oh right, I'm going to calibrate my sextant to the horizon and having an angle down here like this to then try and get the angle to whatever it is you're looking at, and then you move around here, right? Then you need to calibrate it down here again to look at the angle here. Ask them if they're accounting for that. They don't. You would have to be. This is the other aspect. I'll probably get to this because I'm going to go through the comments because they're a right hoot. This speak rubbish, whatever his name is. Right, so I can get rid of that buffer. Let's just get in about this. So first up, we're going to hear, this was the Gem Panda character, right? What I've just described here and discussed with you. This was the same issue I had with the chap at the university when I was trying to talk to him about the field of view and vision and how it works. So, you know, you've got the outer part that, as I say, you can represent as a curve. You can talk about the arc of, you know, positions of things within that field of view. When you look straight out in front of you, as I say, you know, it's like a dartboard where everything is coming in towards the central point. Okay, that's why when we look along parallel lines like train tracks, you know, in three-dimensional, tangible, you know, physicality engineering, we understand that when we construct the train tracks that there's equidistant, you know, the space between these tracks is the same, it's equal all the time. But as you look outwards into the field of view, parallel lines appear to converge. Okay, so if you're looking down a road where it's equal distance between the two sides of the road, they converge to the central point. Okay, some people call it the vanishing point, convergence point, whatever you like. Right, this is known and understood in perspective drawing. You know, anybody that's into any of that should understand it. You know, and how we represent three-dimensional reality in regards to how we see it. So when we are standing and we're looking outwards, right, the ground does not remain here. In reality, you know, tangibly, the ground is always there. Visibly, the ground appears to do that. That's just a side-on demonstration of how we see. When you look outwards, the ground's appearing to rise up into the centre of your field of view. So, when we're talking about purely visible phenomena, we have to be quantifying human vision and its role in your purely visible phenomena. This again is why you can't just come here denying physics, asserting to somebody like me that bodies of water are rotund, right? And that when you're standing on that, looking at that body of water, it does this up into the centre of your field of view and then falls away. You see them quite often doing this thing as well, where they'll show you a hump and then they'll put a guy here, they'll put another one here, and then they'll say, oh look, they're having to, they can't see each other. Right, that's because they would be looking down. Nobody ever looks down at the horizon. Nobody. Nobody. On the globular earth, as soon as you've pinpointed the horizon, whatever mileage they want to say it's at, right, they're going to say, oh look, the horizon's down here somewhere. Right, well the horizon must remain as a fixed point. As you elevate upwards, you would be increasing your angle to look downwards. So that means that in things like what they'll call sunset, they'll always say, that's the sun going down over the curvature of the earth. Look, the sun's went down away. Really? Okay then. So in that case, I'm standing at the top of my sphere Earth, and the sun's went down here. Right? That means as I elevate up, I can now look down across the expanse of the Earth and see the sun in its full out in space. You don't see that though, you always see it straight in front of you, just like the horizon. The flow just continues to ramp up wherever you go. The other common misconception, just quickly for you, is that they'll always rattle on about how the horizon's 0.3 degrees below the centre of the field of view. So again, take this whole thing as your field of view, we'll use that as a representation. Okay, they'll say the horizon, and then they'll say it's slightly below the centre of the field of view. That is because, in reality, the floor can never pass beyond the central point of your field of vision. Okay? Never. It's always going to be slightly below the centre of any calibrated to the level instrument. The floor will always appear slightly below the centre of the field of view. If the floor was to go beyond the centre of the field of view, it's because you're looking into a hill that goes up the way like that. The floor's always just below. There's a grey area in here where the sky and the ground appear to meet, but they don't ever actually meet. You're so close to the ground, things start to become obscured bottom up because the angle is lessened to the eye at this point because you're so close to the ground. It's very, very simple. But again, these freaks want to totally ignore it, even to the point of laughing. They want to come here and say, I see something. And then I go, alright, you see something. How are you quantifying what you're seeing? How do you quantify the instruments that you're using to make your silly assertion? And then they'll just waffle, talk rubbish. So let's have a listen to the character known as Gem Panda, shall we? See here. You just need to bear with me here.
Let's just give him some breathing space though, like just to get fucking, acquainted with the dynamic of the room, and you're jumping all over him.
See, this is the problem, people never lay out their principles, and that's me speaking on the recording, by the way. This was Meryl. Meryl, asked me again and again if I would check this Discord thing out, so eventually I caved in. And I went in there and recorded it, because I knew it was going to happen. And sure enough, very predictably, they give us the material. Now again, this is not about a battle between me and these characters. This is purely to highlight the sophistry and the dishonesty of these people. As I keep telling people, this is not a battle, it's not a dichotomy. There's no duality to this. Objective reality is singular. Okay? I've explained it many times, me as a man of practicality. If a human being is asserting something to me about my reality, they are duty bound under my rule to practically demonstrate these things to me. Okay? You know what they're talking about. So if anybody wants me to accept some aspect of my objective reality, I need a practical reference. I need a demonstration of physicality in order for me to accept it as part of my objective reality. So if anybody has any of that, then by all means you can share it with me. Other than that, I'm just going to listen to people's hot air, which I'm not really interested in. So
I have evidence of the moon looking spherical. Do you want some of that in your objective reality?
Is it relevant to establishing the shape of the earth beneath our feet, Don?
Well, if there's a sphere floating in the sky, it suggests we might be on a sphere as well.
See, again, this is just one of these common, cult zealot type attitudes, these fanatics. They just make these assumptions and try and assert it as if it's factual. It's anything but. That's just your faulty logic, Don. I've been through this with you so many times in your soul.
No, it's normal logic.
You never learn, though. It's no logic, it's idiocy. It's idiocy, totally.
If there are spheres floating in space, we might be on one.
But there's so many assumptions in that statement you just made. Spheres floating in space.
Reality is a personal interpretation of your answer.
So shall I take that as a no? You don't want any spherical moon evidence in your objective
Don,
reality?
this is what I'm saying about trying to reason with people, and you're unreasonable because I'm trying to reason with you and highlight the absurdity.
I'm offering you evidence to help your objective reality.
Don, can you answer the question? See, this is where they get sneaky, and they say words like, I'm offering you evidence. No. You're offering me illogical drivel in order to, it's been cherry-picked in order to try and support your preconceived religious bias of the Earth being a sphere floating about outer space, the vacuum of outer space. Does anything above your head give you and establish the dimensions of the Earth beneath your feet?
It can.
Yeah,
It can.
Yes.
So, based on your interpretation of a bias that you want to make fit your already preconceived notion of a sphere?
No.
So where's the again I'll use the analogy. Let me finish. Let me finish. So I'll use the analogy just to highlight the absurdity of your reasoning. Okay, so I want you to measure the floor of your home right now, and I want you to establish whether it's level or curved, and I want you to do that by looking at a light bulb.
I'll give you another analogy of why it's not.
Just answer the fucking question.
To respond to that, if you had a number of light bulbs in known positions relative to each other, you could do that.
Could you?
You could establish.
Right, well, Don, I live in a housing estate. Listen,
how we use the stars.
This is how the concept of the globe came about. Utilising mathematics based on these celestial things and their fixed positions to each other. And then you can formulate, whatever you like, because they're predictable, they're always going to be there. So you can start to fudge things to suit whatever wee culty model you want it to. Okay? I live in a housing estate with over. Listen, let me finish. There's a housing estate here of fixed houses of about 350. Now in those houses there is fixed light fixings. Every single one of them are spherical in nature. Does that mean that the floor of the estate is now curved?
Yeah, but that's not what the moon is it? It's not like
Rather than concede your intellectual dishonesty, you're going to keep going and going and going.
It's a no. It's a no.
Hello, can I respond, please? That isn't how we're using the stars. We aren't looking at the sky, seeing a star, saying it's spherical, and then saying the Earth is spherical as a...
Well, that's what Don just said, and the point that I'm making to them is that, you're using these things, and I understand the celestial sphere concept and what it's based upon. It's based upon human perception, that being that you're always at the centre. Wherever you move, you're at the centre of your own little sphere within it. And you're projecting the stars to the inner surface of that sphere. Anybody that wants to go and investigate the celestial sphere will find this to tell you that. Or you can think of the stars as being a projection on the inside of a bigger sphere outside of the Earth. That's what they'll say.
So
how are you
what
correlating?
we're doing? Hang on. What we're doing is we're looking at the positions of those stars, and relative to our position on Earth, and from that we can determine that the surface of the Earth is curved.
So you're looking. So you're into the realms of it. You can't establish the shape of the Earth utilising that. It's got nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. It's about navigation. It's about utilising what's above you to navigate on a planar surface. As I keep pointing out to these people, that's the instrumentation that they're using. Euclidean planar principles, no non-Euclidean spherical, hyperbolic jobby visual, geometry. Then, so we're talking about spherical. We're talking about spherical geometry in regards to vision. Then,
well, part of the way that we determine things about reality is via observation.
Vision. See, this you can already hear the disingenuous of this character. He's trying to just omit it, he's trying to avoid it and use word salad to evade it.
So, yes.
But observation is a word that you're using across the board here, Jem. We're talking about purely visible phenomena. So it's in the realms of vision. It's in the geometry.
That is visible.
So again, what I'm talking about here is that you can't get to these things in the sky. You can't quantify them in 3 dimensions. They exist only as 2-dimensional visible representations within your little sphere. You know, there's a huge difference. You can see maybe something in your 3-dimensional reality that you think is a certain shape or has set dimensions or whatever, and then you get to it. If it's something you can get to, you can then, you know, understand and quantify what the object actually is, further in your understanding. But if you cannot get to it, to quantify it, then it is purely in the realms of visible phenomena, no tangible 3-dimensional phenomena. So it's in the geometry of vision then. So and this is where you start to hear the chuckle and them trying to omit it. You know, they're talking about purely visible, and then they just don't want to, you know, talk about the eye and your perceptions, how the eye is actually functioning, how we see the world around us. Geometry of vision is curved, so how are you accounting for your human eyes and your
Well, that's some nonsense that Gavin made.
No, it's no Gav. I'm just trying to undermine that it's just nonsense that Gav made up. You like, you know, people just hear what somebody says and then believe it mindlessly. No, Gem Panda. People understand it because they put their attention to it, because of their will to understand it. Again, you know, you just display intellectual dishonesty like the rest of these morons. No, Gav.
Hang on.
Jem.
Clearly, I can.
I'm with you, Del.
Jem.
Let him.
Clearly, I can see straight line. Clearly, I can measure straight lines.
You can measure straight lines, you can see straight lines within your field of view up until a certain point. That's not what we're talking about. As I pointed out with the protractor, we're talking here about the celestial sphere concept in regards to navigation and how you do not see the outer curving of your vision. You see things apparently dropping in altitude as you move further away from them. Now these things, the celestial sphere is just a conceptual representation of what is going on. That's it.
The idea that our eyes are somehow making things look curved because our eyes are curved is
nothing to do with, you know, somehow making things look curved. Again, he knows fine well what he's up to here. He knows fine well I'm talking about the outer reaches of the field of your view and why we have tools with a curve on them representing that aspect. It's the arc of things apparently dropping within the observer's field of view.
So
Jem,
we can determine straight lines easily.
Jem,
if you're saying that we can't, then
you get a habit of just talking on the top, Jem. You don't have a discussion. You don't stop and let people pick out the points that you're making. Okay, Jem, so here we've got a scenario.
I only spoke for a few seconds, less than a minute.
Wind your emotions in, Jem. Listen.
Surely your attention
Schmiego!
Schmiego!
What I never showed you at the beginning of this is when I went in, I gave Gem Panda a rubbing. This was based on his physical appearance when I see him in a video. You know, he tried to kind of turn that into, you slagging a disabled person, and I asked him the question, well, is a disabled person, you know, immune to having a laugh, to having a jest? Because the people that I know who are what you would call disabled are up for a laugh. They laugh about their situation. It's always the best method. You know, that doesn't mean to say that I think I'm something better or there's something less than me or any of these things. It's just who I am. I like to have a laugh about every aspect of being, including myself, because nobody's fucking perfect.
Schmiego! A paragraph out.
So I'm calling him Schmiego because to me that's what he represented, you know.
My precious!
I'm just going to descend into your absurdity if you keep it up.
Why are you? We were just having a conversation. I only responded with a few lines. Why is it necessary to behave like this?
See when you omit the apparatus that you're using to try and make a proof, right? That's a problem. So let's look at a scenario here. We have two horizons. To our left we can see a horizon. We turn to the right we can see a horizon. Now on the left of your horizon, an aircraft appears at an altitude of... I'm just going to stop that. I'm going to just... Your wee diagram of what I'm talking about here. So if you look to your left, okay, you just imagine here that you've got your horizon, right? Here, and if you look to your right, you've got a horizon here, and you'd be at the centre. Now as you look here, as an aircraft appears on your horizon, right? What happens is that this aircraft appears to do this over the top of you, when in reality the aircraft is just going in a straight line. It's no arcing. You know, what you would have to imagine then is that, you know, based on where you're standing from horizon to horizon, in the space of 20 minutes, the aircraft's coming up over a massive curvature of Earth, flying up and above you to go back round the curve of the Earth. So you would see by that arc then that the Earth would kind of have to be that kind of size, making you an absolute fucking giant, right? The reason that I pointed out using the protractor, right, is because that represents how things appear to descend and ascend in your field of view depending on what way you're looking, okay? So this is the point I'm making here, just to show him, although he knows fine well what I'm talking about. 35,000 feet, and it continues on that straight path of 35,000 feet as it passes above you, beyond you, towards the next horizon. Now, to you, it looks as if it's arcing as in a curve over you to the other horizon. That's how it appears to you, Jem. It does not appear to go in a straight line, correct?
Yeah, for me.
See, this again is it's very simple, it's very basic, but he knows fine well where we're going with this. This is the intellectual dishonesty fully on display now. See, this is your problem, Jem. You're so intellectually dishonest.
I don't think we really.
So intellectually dishonest that you can't even concede a basic, fundamental observation, a factual observation that everybody witnesses. You want to negate it because you know where I'm going and you want to avoid it.
Well,
Jim.
first of all, we were talking about your eyes not being able to determine whether something's straight or not.
That's not what we're talking about at all, and he knows fine well.
Which is your claim.
No, listen,
and my rebuttal. But please let me finish.
Your claim is a visible phenomenon, and I'm trying to address it, and you're not letting me.
Why
because
are you
you're a liar.
interrupting me?
Because you're a liar. Because you're I can see clearly what you're doing, Jim, and I'm no mug.
All right, that isn't your. What is your claim then?
Your claim.
Because that was what you were saying, that I'm not accounting for my spherical vision.
That's right. How are you accounting for your spherical vision then when you're looking at circles in the sky? The celestial sphere, Jem, do you know what it's based on?
We can determine...
Jem, what's the celestial sphere based upon, Jem Panda?
Can I respond, or is it just you interrupting me after a couple of words?
I'll take away the pressure, Schmiegel. Now, answer.
I was trying to.
Go ahead.
When you interrupted me and stopped me from answering to tell me to answer.
God's an idiot.
We can determine the position of stars in the sky. It's simple as that.
And it's based on
how
they've got a history.
Jem, it's based on the celestial sphere. Do you know?
Why are you interrupting me again?
Just acknowledge. Do you know what the celestial sphere is, Jem? What's the celestial sphere? Answer for everybody, please, Jem Panda.
I did. I was giving my answer, and you interrupted me.
She's awful upset, isn't he?
To tell me to give an answer.
Schmiegel,
I
calm down.
pointed out that you interrupted me to tell me to give an answer, and I started to give the answer again, and then you interrupted me again to tell me to give an answer.
Frodo, all these wee globe disciples are running about professing that somehow Jem Panda won something here. Anybody with an ounce of discernment and credibility can clearly hear what's happening here.
Not me that's avoiding things here.
There's a spanking happening. It's certainly in my direction.
Frodo, it's you playing a game like I said you would.
Frodo will not be happy. He will not be putting out if you keep up that bad attitude. Now, what is the celestial sphere, Jem Panda?
Oh, this is beautiful.
Let's go back to the question that you've avoided and tell me how it is that I can draw a straight line with a ruler on a piece of paper and I see that as a straight line You would see it as a straight line. We would all agree it's a straight line.
Until it gets to the outer reaches of your field of view, and then it would distort.
And yet, apparently...
But we're not talking about things there. We're talking about the outer reaches and celestial observations, okay? And, you know, rotund, ramping up bodies of water in front of you. And what's the cause of these things?
Apparently, our spherical vision makes it so that we cannot determine the difference between a straight and a curved line.
Well,
tell me, what is that? Would you agree that I can draw a straight line on a piece of paper with a ruler, and we would all agree it's straight?
Let me clarify this for everybody here, okay, so we can take it right back. We started off talking about, you know, circles in the sky and how we can observe these circles in the sky and their motions. Therefore, you come into the conclusion that the surface is a sphere. Now, what I'm saying to you is that observations above of the celestial objects are based on vision. The concept is known as a celestial sphere. Now, going back to your straight line thing.
No, it's not.
Listen,
that's idiotic.
Let me just finish.
So
he says it's idiotic. This is what I'm saying about the Dunning-Kruger of these people. That's known as a celestial sphere in navigation. That's what they utilise, and it's quite clearly, you know, highlighted and shown that your position, wherever you go and wherever you move, you're at the centre of that conceptual sphere. That's just a fact, but he wants to ignore it again.
Yeah.
I'm going to put up with that for another 10 seconds.
All right. But you interrupted me constantly.
So
it's also not the claim you made, Jack.
But what you're saying is the celestial sphere is an idiotic misinterpretation.
The celestial sphere is so it's just hand wave dismissal. It's an idiotic, you know, whatever. He rambled there when that's exactly what it is. Navigation tool, and a celestial sphere is a navigation tool for the observer being at the centre everywhere he goes. Now, your straight line thing...
No, it's not.
That's exactly what it is. It's not my problem if you don't understand that, Jim. So he's just saying, no, it's not, no, it's not, no, it's not. It quite clearly is. That's how it works. I would hate to have this guy, you know, as the shipmaster fucking taking us somewhere on the ocean. He'd have us fucking lost and drowned within about 20 minutes. So train tracks...
It's absolutely not that. You're an idiot.
So train tracks going off into the distance. Train tracks going off into the distance are equidistant to each other all the way. But when you look along the train tracks, they appear to converge, yes or no?
Yes.
That's correct.
What's causing that?
Perspective.
What's perspective to do with the shape of your eye?
Ultimately, yes.
Right, so there you go, you've just answered it. So when we're talking about purely visible phenomena, we have to account for the apparatus known as the oblate spheroids in your skull.
Right, so can you now answer my question?
Can I get a concession, please? See, this is the point when I'm asking him here. This is where you see the dishonesty in spades. They just refuse to concede any point whatsoever. It's factual. It's been stated to them clearly. They know it. They understand it. But they'll just keep hammering on. You know, this is why I discourage people from getting themselves involved with these cretins, because it would just burn you out. If you were not strong enough, you would eventually be burned, right, by wasting your energy on these people, because they're not there for honest discourse. Get a concession, please. That
no, because you made it. You know. No, the first thing was my question, which Del has not answered. My question was, can we all agree a straight line if I draw it with a ruler? It's as fucking simple as that. Can we do that or not, Del? Answer the fucking question.
What he's doing here is just switching to something else and trying to pose a question to me that's totally fucking obscure, absurd, and nothing of any relevance to what we were talking about. Depends how you're looking at it, Jim. Well,
what does that mean?
If I draw two parallel straight lines going off into the distance...
No, not two parallel straight lines. If I draw a single straight line with a ruler on a piece of paper, would everyone agree it's a straight line?
See, what he doesn't realise that he's doing here is that, you know, I could just reverse that and say, okay, well, I've got two land masses with a separation of almost 30 miles between them. From one to the other should be a deviation in elevation from the starting point, whatever I decide. So if I start from the right, as I move to the left, what should start to happen is that the horizon should deviate from the level and start to go downwards towards the next landmass, because over 30 miles there should be something like 350 feet of drop. But when we go to a coastal scene, like again I use the one here in the west of Scotland, I can pinpoint two land masses with a distance of 28 miles between them. I can put a straight edge up, you know, any length to the horizon, and you will see that the horizon aligns perfectly with the leveled device from one landmass to the other. Absolutely zero deviation. So, straight in reference to what?
Yes.
I didn't hear. Mel, shut the fuck up! What was your answer, Dal?
In reference to what?
Oh my God. If I draw a straight... Merle, I'm muting you.
Why are you shouting?
You can't
then?
shut the fuck up.
Why are you shouting, son?
If I draw a straight line
Yeah,
on
calm
a piece
down.
of paper
I know you're
with a
nervous.
ruler...
I thought it was me that they says shouted and all that stuff. This boy's off a uppity and on edge. I know you're nervous.
Would you and everyone else agree that's a straight line?
I would agree it's a straight line.
Drawing a straight line on paper is a straight line, Jim, yes.
So we can determine what a straight line is.
But listen, in order for you to draw a straight line, Jim, you used an apparatus, probably a ruler with a straight edge, which is a quantifiable piece of material that has been machined.
So what?
That has been machined to be level, meaning that it's
So what?
Right, so that's what you used. You never just used your eyes and your pen.
Well, we don't just use our eye when we're looking at the sky, do we?
Well, what do you use?
We can make measurements. We can make measurements between stars
that's right.
very easily.
I know, but
and measurements between points on the ground and where a star falls in relation to other points on the ground.
And just like the ruler, ruler, you're using apparatus, right? And the apparatus you're using probably like sextants and these types of things are plain geometric tools. They use trigonometry. Triangles, right. Jim. They don't use, it's no curved. It's a triangle, it's a straight edge.
So what?
Right, so that doesn't apply to a curved surface.
Actually, that's not quite true.
Yeah, this is where it descends into absolute blatant stupidity, right? Now they're going to start asserting that triangles, straight, you know, edged triangles, Euclidean geometry can be applied to a curved surface. Wait, hear this. So a triangle applies to a curved surface then? Are you telling me a triangle can be applied to a curved surface?
In non-Euclidean geometry.
But we use Euclidean geometry in actual reality.
Because you take...
I'm
talking about a sphere which... Sorry.
But in reality, the tools that we use, like sextants and navigation tools, are plain geometric tools. They are not non-Euclidean tools. They are Euclidean tools. Yes? Or you want to deny that part of reality as well? Silence. Have I been muted, I take it?
No, you're not muted.
So, I wasn't muted, they were just scrambling about trying to desperately come up with some. The tools we use... The tools we use in reality are plain geometric tools. They are not non-Euclidean, they are Euclidean.
So what?
Well, so what? Here we have it again. So what? So it doesn't matter how your eyes function. It doesn't matter that the geometric assumption and the tools that we apply in regards to navigation are planar. So what? That doesn't matter. Fuck it. I've got a religious bias and I'm just going to admit and throw out every aspect of tangible, factual reality because I'm a wee religious cult disciple. Euclidean geometry does not apply to curved surfaces, so there go. The Earth can't be curved.
It can. The misconception that you can only use non-Euclidean geometry to determine the shape of
you show me. If you're trying to triangulate something over a curved surface, the flow is going to be dropping away from you, increasing the angle the further you look out. It would be all over the place. You would never get accurate readings. You couldn't triangulate anything, right? It's bollocks. See how you can apply Euclidean geometry to a curved surface. You show me how you apply Euclidean geometry to a curved surface. Go for it.
Exactly.
Your point along the line of latitude, the North Pole being a second point, and the fucking North Star being a third point. There you go. There you go. It's done.
You describe points in 3D.
Listen, clearly, your interpretation of the visible phenomena above your head into your wee idiotic model does not omit or disregard the fact that we use Euclidean tools in three-dimensional reality.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
Of course
matter.
it matters.
All you're
You
using
can
is
think
your
that's a liar.
point along a line of latitude. Del, all you're using is your point. Your point.
So, you know, as you can hear, as soon as you highlight facts that they can't deal with, they just say it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Point along a line of latitude, the fucking North Pole as a second point, and the position above the horizon of the North Star being a third point. That is
They're not using the North Star. You probably use the sun if you're using a sextant. So this boy just doesn't even have a fucking clue what he's talking about.
it. And you can
Triangulation.
plot that along whatever the fuck you want.
Triangulation.
Plot those along the line of
Non-Euclidean geometry shows me a triangle on a two-dimensional fucking flat plane. Right? That's not a three-dimensional curve. I mean, this is the level of these clowns. We'll just use word salad and try and bombard people with images, probably in the hope that they don't really understand what it is they're looking at, or have the vocabulary to fucking tear it to shreds. But that's their game, they're predators.
latitude. And guess what? The base of that triangle is curved.
Do you know what? This is absolutely
Get over
phenomenal because we've got people here that are being recorded and they're now claiming that triangles apply to curved surfaces. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
You know what I've been dealing with all year.
Well,
And-
this is
and
what I
they
says to you,
will
Meryl.
not-
Meryl, this is
not
what I says to you,
fuck
Meryl. These people are no intellectually honest. They're no interested in having honest discourse. I'm just here to make an example of them again on their own platform, and they're giving me it
I want
easy.
you to see it. I want you to know that this is what goes down.
Oh, it's always what's went down. I've experienced these people.
Sack, bro.
This is not about sipping snack.
Yes,
This
it is.
Fucking
Get
person to
your
person.
palms down, lady.
Oh, fuck you cunts. Every which way. Up the arse, fucking in the mouth. Fuck you all. You cunts. You suck fucking dick.
Let conversation happen, Merle. We don't need your cheerleading.
Right, so I think we've had about enough of that fucking crap. And then he wants to go and ask me, how do you establish that water's level? That's the nature of, liquid, fluid, it forms a free surface, it has no shape. When you put it into a containment, it will find the lowest energetic potential state, right? That is a flat line, the horizontal, equal in elevation upon any given point of that surface. That's what level means, that's what happens to water. Water defines level. That's the substance that defines the term we know as level. Right? So this again is back to this idiocy. How did you measure the water, Jay? It's the property of the water is the measuring tool. You can't, I could dig a hole, could dig any hole, anybody can try this, dig any hole any size you want, fill it with water and you'll soon see if you're level or no, right? Then you can adjust your heights and whatever else based on the properties of water and how it behaves. Incredible. It was their Discord fucking rubbish, where they try and trap people and bombard them and intimidate them with their pseudo-intellects, right, and their pseudo-science, jargon, word salad, illogical drivel, in the hopes that somebody that's a bit weak might be swayed by their influence. As we see, there's many casualties, Speaking of casualties, we'll move on now to some of the comments that were coming in. I've got this boy, Danny Lad. Right, Danny Lad, I'm going to sort this out for you. This boy, Danny Lad's putting comments in regards to the Simon Dan and his clown brigade pulling your leg with gravity, mechanics of motion and magnetism. So what he put up was front wheel drive cars tend to understeer because they get pulled along by the front wheels, whereas rear wheel drive cars tend to oversteer because they get pushed along by the rear wheels. What I try to point out to him is in both cases, the mechanics the function, the force application is pressure. One piece of matter impressing on another piece of matter in order to achieve propulsion, motion. So you can back, yes, that's right, but for a front wheel drive car, the driving force comes in front of the car's centre of mass, and the rear wheel drive car comes from behind the centre of mass. That's why one's a push and the other's a pull. This is what I'm saying about the incompetence and the sheer stupidity of people. It's just a descriptor. If I'm towing a vehicle, right, again, I'm just going to draw this for them, because it really is that difficult for some simpletons to grasp, right? If I'm the vehicle, I'm just going to use, simple fucking drawings. If I'm the vehicle going in this direction, right, and I've got a rope attached to another thing here, probably an eyelet there, and I'm going in that direction, because this is behind the mechanised car that's creating the motion, they would describe that as it being pulled. But what I'm trying to point out to these morons is that when this vehicle moves, it applies a pressure to the inside of the rope, which is looped around here. So it applies a pressure in here, right, going in that direction. The tension is then taken up. The pressure now comes to the inside of the eyelet here, where the rope is attached to, pushing against the inside surface of the eyelet, pressing on it to now make this follow. If I'm here and I want to go in that direction, I have to put something rigid between me and this, and then the pressure, or the motorised vehicle which applies pressure to the tarmac, of the road, propelling it forwards, right? The pressure then transfers to here, applies the pressure here, and pushes on this matter to push it in that direction. I don't know why that's so difficult for you to grasp, Danny. We're not talking about descriptors of whether, you're towing something or, whatever. We're talking about the physicality of force being applied. In every case, you have to vary the pressure. So he's quoting me here. In both cases, the mechanics of the force being applied is pressure variance, which is exactly what it is. You vary pressure, one surface, one piece of matter interacting with another piece of matter, whatever it is that causes motion. So you can reduce pressure, which can create motion, or you can increase pressure, which creates motion. Either or. So he's, well, no, it's actually friction from the road reacting against the tyres motion. Exactly, Danny. Just as I was saying to you, son. It's like they have a real mental block, right? So every aspect of the internal combustion engine and the mechanics of a car is all about levers, okay? Which means you've got one, a lever can just be, like a bar, like, a wrench that you use, and you've got leverage on it so you can, apply the pressure in any direction to either, tighten or loosen. A lever can also be, a cog system, right? Where it's just levers. Then you might have another cog that intersects it. So this lever will, if it's gone in that direction, this lever will apply a pressure here to this and move that cog in that direction, which will be opposite to the movement of that one. Right, so the same is true for a tyre. Once all that transference of the force, gets through the whole mechanism of a vehicle, it gets to the wheel, okay? Now the tyre going in this direction, being pushed by the other mechanisms, will come into contact with the surface of the road, right? It will then push against it in that direction in order to propel the car forwards. Applied pressure. One piece of matter applying pressure on another piece of matter in order to achieve Motion. Come on, Danny, lad. Come on, son. Get a grip of yourself. However, you can trace the load pass back to the engine. For instance, the road friction reacts to the tyre's motion, which reacts to the torsion force on the wheel's axis, blah, 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 blah. It's just all levers, Danny. I think you need to strip yourself back and understand the basics of engineering and mechanics. It's all levers and inclined planes, right? That's what we use to achieve motion. You need leverage. You need some way of applying force to something else to make it move. There's no such thing as a force known as pull. But anyway, all we are doing is complicating a simple concept. Basically, an object gets pulled if its driving force comes from behind and in front of the ladder. We've spoken about this, Danny. Right? They're descriptors of whether you bring something closer to you or further away, or whether the object's behind you while you move. But we're talking about where the force is applied at any given point. The force is always a pressure on another surface. Every time. Every time. It's not my fault that you don't understand it or refuse to understand it. What's happened here? Is it working? Aye. So as everybody knows, the reason for that was because, you know, they talk about gravity and invoke it as some mystical pulling force, pulling stuff towards the centre of an Earth, globular Earth. But, you know, you have to have some leverage in order to achieve motion. So how does gravity lever stuff? It doesn't, because it's rubbish. Has to be leverage happening, either something flowing in a particular direction or a lever system. That's just motion. It's not my fault, as I say. I'm not making it up. That's just the facts. So anyhow, exactly, Andrew. Exactly. So let's have a wee look, shall we? Right, where are we? So, Seek Truth, Speak Truth came to the video that I done this morning. This was the boy that, you know, made all sorts of rubbish accusations against myself. And I dealt with him. So he's came, and his response was, Earth is still a globe no matter what you say. My response then was, only in your wishful imagination. If you have a quantifiable proof of curvature or practical reference for globular claims, please provide them, thanks. Because that's who I am. I deal in physics, I deal with practicality, demonstration of physical substance. Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about men's imaginations, their fantasies, right? Their wee idiotic concepts or notions that they wish to be true. That guys like Al K and the rest of the crew imagine and wish and want to be true. So then, Seek Truth, Speak Truth came back with, give me a concise breakdown of this video then, please. And what he's offered me is a visible proof, say, of somebody using an optical device looking over a body of water and proclaiming, I don't know, whatever. So I asked him, you posted it. Now, why don't you give us the quantification of what you imagine is going on? Because it's his posting. He's put it there as if it means something. So I'm asking him to quantify it. I'm not interested in just somebody going, look, she's having and therefore I'm going to assert all sorts of gibberish. That's not how we understand things, factually. It's your burden, silly. Now hurry up. Is the water ramping up and then curving away? Right? Because this, again, is always as a point. I'm going to keep pointing it out. they'll say, there's a horizon, there's the mast of a wee ship, and the rest of the ship's down there somewhere. Right? If you're standing here, what's happening in your field of view is that this body of level water, although I put a wee kind of curve on it, I didn't mean to, this body of level water is ramping up into the centre of your field of view. So if I showed you it from the side, standing at the beach, there's the water, oh, the water's doing this, into the centre of your field of view. So what I've asked him there is the water ramping up like this, and then dropping like this? Because that's what would have to be happening if he's going to tell me that there's a wee ship here beyond the curve. The curve would have to start at the point of your apparent horizon, where it appears to ramp up to the centre of your field of view, and then it would drop off like that. That doesn't work on a sphere. Your sphere would be like that. Then when I moved around here, it would be like that. Then when I moved around here, it would just keep going. It would be a mad fucking shape. Oh, like this. I mean, what the fuck do these people think they're living on? Apparently it doesn't matter. Winston Smith in the same thread, probably one of his sock accounts or his wee buddies. We do have quantifiable proof. We've shown it to you several times. You don't have the education to understand it. Still waiting on it. You're very welcome to come here anytime I'm on live and present it. Like right now, send an email to the above email address. Come in and offer up so everybody can see this quantifiable proof of globular nonsense that you've got. So Seek Truth, Speak Truth just came back after I'd asked him that, with I bet you hit women. Then he came back, beyond the magic curve, I think the government have devised a device that can make buildings appear to go over a curve. They are moving the tower downwards as the observer is moving away, giving the optical illusion it is disappearing over a curve to cover up FE. Also, the sea is an actor, the camera is a show and the tower is a paid eight. Just all straw man, idiotic gibberish. Absolute gibberish. He's been asked to represent his video that he's posted as some apparent proof of something. I've asked him to quantify it, and this is the gibberish I get back. Thank you for letting me know you are clueless about our observable reality. It's just nonsense, right? You know, in that he's saying, I think the government have devised a device that can make buildings appear to go over a curve. They are moving the tower downwards as the observer is moving away. No, so that's just because, you know, as a pointed out, as you move away from things, right? As you move away from something, if you're standing here, right? There's a lamppost, right? And you look up at the lamppost, right? If you move over here, the angle's now decreased. This appears to get smaller and compress within your field of view. That's what's happening. Now you have to be able to account for your human perception and what's actually happening in the field of view here. How do you quantify when you're using visible proofs? How are you quantifying it? How does the eye work? How does it see what's going on? You can't just make assertions and try and pass that off as some logic or science. It's idiotic. Absolute buffoonery. So you're not doing yourself any favours here. So he's coming back laughing. Optical phenomena. Oh, please, this is undeniable proof of a globe and you still deny it. As it's visible phenomena, it's in regards to vision. Why can you not account for what's actually going on? You don't have the capabilities. Are you telling us here that you're just a wee cult disciple now who spews jargon, try to pass it off as something credible? That's not how it works. Wee sacks. Keep telling you people this. So he came back, and yes, it is ramping up and curving away. Wonderful. It is. It is ramping up and curving away. So what he's admitted to here is that this is what he now believes. He now believes that side on view, that the water's ramping up like this and then curving down like that. That's what he's just admitted to. This is the most sense you have spoken in years. Imagine a ball. One person at point A, one person at point B. The highest point between them will be in the middle. You literally just debunked yourself in your own channel. This is what he's talking about. Because he sees these wee diagrams and he's just not got the fucking wherewithal to see through it. Talking about these wee stupid diagrams that many of you have seen. That's no levelled apparatus. That's looking down. You don't look down to the horizon. You level things straight out. The horizon is straight out. No, down. Not down. Straight out. Again, just to show your utter stupidity. Wee guy. Sun. Oh no, where's the sun went? Oh, let's look, we'll go up here. Oh look, now we can look down across the earth and we can see the sun out in outer space and all that. It's not what happens either. You go higher, you'll just keep looking straight out, straight out, straight out. You will never look down. You don't look down at the sun. Are you daft? I don't know who's liking these comments. They're as much to be as retarded as he is. So I replied to him, is that it? So you can't quantify the YouTube video you cherry picked? No surprise there. Is the water ramping up and then curving away? Answer, you creepy wee liar. But he did answer, I did see that. And I says to him once I realised that he'd wrote it, so the water is raising up before it curves away. You really are stupid. You just debunked the possibility of it being a sphere. It is geometrically impossible for a downward curve from your feet to ramp up in front of you. Seriously, get outside. Stand on a slope or something. The fresh air might help the delusional psychotic episodes you're going through. So he's come back, of course I can. It proves spherical earth and you deny it because you want to feel special. It's fine, I get it. So he's just, you know, evading it. And then try to strawman me with some bollocks about feeling special and all this rubbish. No dealing with the facts or what's been put to him. And he's come back, there is a difference between knowing what is happening and thinking you know what is happening. Exactly. You just think stuff in your wee idiotic brain. This is again the problem and the influence of morons like Conspiracy Cats and Cy Mandan on these people. They just retard them. Perpetuate their stupidity. Then they run about all proud of their stupid. This is a belter. Beyond the magic curve, this is Seek Truth Spew Garbage, whatever his name is. I have stood on a curved bridge. One side to the other, the highest point is in the middle. One person each end, they can't see each other because the curve blocks it. That's because, as I responded to him, that's because a bridge, when you have two people at equal elevation on a level, that's because a bridge starts and elevates up to go over the level body of water and then comes back down like that. So they're both at the same elevation. They have an obstruction in the middle of them because it's constructed like that to go over the level water. What a fucking clown. So he's come back again. Even if I am wrong about the geometry, the buildings are still disappearing over the curve. That's still irrefutable proof of a globe. You offered no other alternative whatsoever, absolutely nothing. Being wrong is something I actually have the courage to admit to. Well, you're going to have to wind your wee neck in and admit that you've not got a clue what you're talking about here, son. You don't know how to quantify visible phenomena. You're omitting human perspective, how you actually view the world through these oblate spheres. Totally omitting it. Just, okay, I just see what I want to believe, and I'm going to assert it with confidence, displaying my Dunning-Kruger. So on here, we've still got the Winston Smith character rattling on about how I can't understand stuff and all that, whatever. Seek Truth, Speak Truth came back. Just for the record, and everybody's clear, we live in an oblate spheroid. So I responded to him, that's because the bridge is arcing up from low to high. On the globe Earth, you're always at the top, making it a geometric impossibility for the ground to raise up in front of you. Will you also highlight my admission that I was probably wrong about the statement too? Show your honesty. I don't know what statement you're admitting to being wrong about here. It's not very clear because there's comments being deleted left, right and centre, which I'll show you in a wee minute. Because the Sean Hawkins buffer that came to my channel, I went to his wee video, you know, the wee video that I showed you at the beginning, and I put a big comment in showing the absurdity of what he was proposing, and it just was vanishing instantly. And I recorded it. I'm going to show you in a minute. Same with this Seek Truth, Speak Truth. Just comments just vanishing. Where was I? You keep offering up emotional ramblings. I will be live again soon and will highlight your silliness. I do hope you learn. That was a curved bridge, but wait a minute. Even if I am wrong, blah, blah, blah. So I asked him again, how did you factor in the device you used to establish this imaginary curve? Can you quantify the device's eyes? And how you factor it in for visible proofsies? Chop, chop. If you're always, this is his response, if you're always at the top, what about your mate that is 100 miles away at the top too? Just a laugh curve between them. As a pointed out, you would have to be looking downwards for that. You don't look downwards to the horizon. You need to stop paying attention to these wee misrepresentation diagrams. They don't mean anything, son. Oh, I forgot we have spherical eyes. That means we can't trust them. I remember Baldy Cats telling me about that. He confronted you in a live stream and you booted him off because you didn't have an answer for it. No, I never booted him off because I never had an answer. Baldy Cats was dealt with and he played porn on the channel. That's what happened. Right? You can't just trust purely your eyes. Because I don't know if you're aware, look out into the world. Things appear differently to what they actually are tangibly. Again, pay attention. Go outside, look along the street. Note that the houses start to compress and appear to get smaller and smaller and smaller in your field of view. So there's something to be factored there. You don't just ignore it and hope that it goes away. Stop being silly. Again, they just try and play these things down because they know it's to the detriment of their idiotic beliefs. So I says to him again, there would be hundreds of feet of drop from one to the other. That means it falls away from your feet. You can't have bodies of water ramping up into the centre of your field of view and then curving away at some arbitrary point. You're looking at drawings of two people looking downwards. You don't look down to the horizon. Pointing that out to you. So he's come back saying, it isn't dishonesty, it's a lack of understanding. I don't understand some things and I am okay with that. But here you are trying to tell me and assert to me that you understand something. And I'm trying to get it out of you. So, I mean, again, are you just that much a confused mess? After this, I'm not going to waste my breath on you, son. I'm just using you to highlight how stupid people can be when it comes to religious beliefs and the influence of apparent authoritarian figures like Baldy Cats, who is obviously mentoring you in some way. How can you let a little beta male like that mentor you? I applaud you may well be right that you state here. There are thousands of proofs. Again, it isn't dishonest, it's a lack of understanding. I don't understand some things and I'm okay with that. I applaud you may well be right when you state here there are thousands of proofs. Can you offer up just one? Never mind thousands. Just find one. Just one. Just thought I would show you something I hadn't seen bandied about before. We've seen it a million times, son. They're so inconsistent, you can get different results from one day to the next with visible proofsies. What about the visible proofsy that me and Dan have got numerous times now of Ailsa Rock from 40 miles away? Can see the rock, can see the rock's reflection on the water right underneath it. We'll just ignore that. Just forget about it. Fuck it. Doesn't fit your wee bias, does it? But I don't jump to these things because they're not quantified properly yet. But at least I'm honest enough to say that. People that you are know, you pay no attention other than what you have to pay attention to, depending on what your wee agenda is. And it does confirm a spherical Earth. So he says he doesn't understand it, he could be wrong, then asserts again that it confirms a spherical Earth. I mean, what a shambles you are. What an absolute shambles. Making a mockery here, and he spank your wee arse, send you away with your tail between your legs, and I'm not even going to spit in your direction again, son. You're beneath me. You're so incompetent and bewildered, it's beyond belief. Straight after saying that it does confirm a spherical Earth, I don't understand the geometry. I understand the disappearing over a curve though. I mean, it's fucking conflicting statements from one to the next. One sentence to the next is a total contradiction. When you see it with your own eyes, it's kind of hard to refute unless you have an agenda. Do you understand how your own eyes work? Do you understand how you're seeing the world? No, you bloody well don't. Through your confusion, you just think that you know, again, Dunning-Kruger and spades with you, wee man. Like upholding a belief, you want the earth to be flat. I didn't. I don't want it to be flat. I don't give a fuck what it is. All I care about is what it actually is. Now again, I stand by no models, and you know that, and so does the rest of the Globe Cult disciples. This is the problem. They desperately want me to be adopting some strawman cartoonery. Doesn't happen here. So, I have no horse in the race. The only horse I'm interested in is the objective facts. That is the difference. I fell for it, but I could not sit there with the rest of my life in denial of our reality to bolster my insecurities about the world. Oh, you're an insecure mess, son. Your ramblings are incoherent. You're contradicting yourself from one sentence to the very next sentence. I don't understand how it works. I might be wrong, but this is how it works. Wow. Well done, conspiracy cats. This is the level of your influence. This is the type of people you are influencing. You complete and utter spanner. Hope you're proud of yourself. Hope you can put that big baldy sweaty napper of yours on the pillow and sleep well at night, son. Knowing that you've contributed your stupid to the world and it's now running about representing your stupid with pride. Speak through this, beyond belief. I will happily speak to Dell, just not on his channel. It will not be fair. How will it not be fair? All this rubbish propaganda bullshit of me having contempt for known trolls, antagonists. Right? How many times is it got to be displayed? If you're mannered and respectful, you get the same in return. I've displayed it so many times. It's very apparent that when you have people that know how to conduct themselves, they get the very same in return. Look at the interviews. Look at the people that come on that have different views of the world, but if they're mannered and respectful, they get treated with the very same. So stop acting like a wee snowflake. Get your wee sphincter in here and let's have the discussion. But you're scared. So you need to make up rubbish excuses for why you want to run away. Right, I can't be bothered reading any more of their crap. There's about 80 comments now. You can go to the last video and see it if you want. It's an absolute shit show. Total disaster for them. Again, this is no good for the globular earth. So, I'll check my emails in a minute and I'll see if any of these people have requested to join. I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. Oops. Well, let me just show this. You know, again, you know, we see so many of this. This came up earlier. I know other people have done similar. This was the plain truth.
Oh, there it is.
You know, this band here.
Where'd that bird come from? Where'd that bird go?
Things appear to disappear. It's just a limitation of light getting to the device, the optical device. Right? You can't resolve what's going on here. So it looks as if, look at them. Oh, that's floating in mid-air. Oh, it's floating in mid-air. And these birds are going down over a body of curved water, apparently. Just look again. Pay attention. Oh my God. They're flying down over the car. Hey! See, this is the idiocy. Again, if... Am I even screen sharing this? I am. Aye. So again here, you know, these people would try and assert to you that that was the horizon, right? And that was the curve of the earth there, you know, that's ramping up and then dropping down. So again, you know, if you were to move your position, you know, if you had another observer out here, if we formed an equilateral triangle between the observer here, the apparent, you know, horizon or hump of curvy bendy water, and we had an observer over here, what that observer should be seeing from left to right is an increase in elevation of the body of water to the middle of his field of view and then downwards like this. That's what we'd have to see. That's what would have to be there. But it's no, because water doesn't behave like that. You only get these effects in straight out observation. I've covered this so many times before. This is part of the sophistry of the globular earth. They'll invoke visible phenomena, visible proofs, but it's always straight out in front. Because they know it's about the angles of light, you know, the resolve to the eye, the device. But hey, I'm sure they'll keep coming with rubbish. And we'll just keep highlighting the absurdity. So we went from Jim Panda and his crew omitting the eyes, laughing at it, asserting that, you know, Euclidean plane or geometry can be applied to curved surfaces, spheres and all that rubbish. Triangles are curved. You know, bodies of water are ramping up like this and then curving away for you. It's just bonkers. Just bonkers. And these people run about with confidence, asserting their intellectual superiority, looking down upon us bewildered. I think they've all escaped from a mental hospital. Exactly, pragmatic. Angle of incidence and refractive indexing. That doesn't matter though, just ignore that. Yeah, just to laugh at that. You can't. You're silly. It's obviously the curve of the earth coming up in front of you and then dipping away. I mean, do you know that the globular earth's actually a golf ball? And that everywhere you move, you're inside your own wee dimple? Aye. You stop that. Aye, Neil Simon, I'm running out of steam. Aye. Whatever tickles your fancy. All wishful thinking. All this wishful talk of it's going away. Dell's running out of steam. Dell's looking haggard and tired. Although I'm sick of telling them, obviously they don't have children because they're too narcissistic. And if they do have children, their narcissism prevents them from having an actual relationship with them. The children are probably petrified to disrupt them through the night and get into bed with them and snuggle up and all that because their parents are mad narcissistic psychopaths. Right? So Dell's only haggard and tired because of children. Right? No because of globular earth fantasies. I ain't going away. You can keep wishing that. You can keep shouting it from the rooftops. It will never be true, I'm afraid. Sorry. Oh, fucking hell. Timmy Osmond's fucking messaging me. Can't believe you still don't understand you're wrong about level. He's found some definition. Having no part higher than another, conforming to the curvature of the liquid parts of the Earth's surface. I'd love to know where you pulled that from, who updated that. This is a thing, son, level and practical. I'd love to see Timmy Osmond, right? Timmy Osmond, here's a challenge for you. I want you to go to some building sites or the construction of a canal or whatever, and I want you to tell them that, by the way, level's actually curved. It's not a straight line where it's equal in elevation along any given point of that surface. I would love to see you doing that, son. It would be funny watching them batter fuck at you with hard hats. What a laugh that would be. There is two definitions of level, Timmy, and the rest of the globe. Idiots. Right? Again, honesty, I understand there's two definitions. What I understand is that level to the practical lived life, real world, is no deviation in elevation along any given point from your starting point to your end point. It means it doesn't deviate its elevation. There's my thing. I'll just use that. On a curved surface, however, if we start here, we want to build something level which would be straight out like that. That means that here there's a deviation in elevation from my starting point. Has to be. It's deviated in its elevation. There's a starting point. Oh, that's down there. That's deviated. It's now no longer level. Right? You'd have workmen running about building foundations that are curved and then trying to build square bricks on top of curved surfaces like a complete and utter dipshit. There's a mathematical definition. Right? Which is equal from the centre point of a circle to the outer circumference of a circle. That's just a mathematical definition plucked from obscurity. That applies to wee bits of paper. Now again, run along, go to a workplace, go into the real world and start telling everybody that you know better. Level means there's a curve, it's deviating in its elevation. That means that the foundations of my house and this whole fucking row of houses, you know, they're no level. According to Timmy, there's actually curvature from one point to the other. Aye, okay, son. I can't believe you're still trying to fucking, you know, fob people off of that bullshit. As I say, you might get away with that on YouTubes to bewildered fucking morons, son. But you'll never ever dare go into the real world and try and tell real tradesmen, real people who build your fucking house, who build the rail networks, the roads, the bridges, the canals, so that your wee incompetent hoop can travel about. You would never dare go and tell any of these people and try and insult them to their face. They would bitch slap you. And you would deserve it. You insulting little shit. Any questions? Exactly, well put, Trackmatic. If you invert a concave surface, it becomes convex, and the reverse. If you invert a level, it's still level. Well, roads and drains have to have a slight deviation from the level so that the water will flow, because that's what happens to water. When you deviate the topography underneath and it's uncontained, the water will flow. To the lowest point again. And that's how we utilise drainage systems. We understand the level, we then understand how to deviate from the level to lower the elevation so that the water will run away from the road surface. What's going to be happening from now on is, see when we get these people that come into the chat boxes or they go to the comment sections, just like they do to us. Oh, that's what I was going to show you. Just let me get this up here. Let me shut that one down. Stop. Let me find quickly the Sean Hawkins character. Where was that? What's the date today? The 2nd. It's that one or it's that one, is it this one?
.uk. We are sorry, but what?
Nope, it's not that one. Oh, where is it? Yeah, it must be that. Let me just, where am I here? Screen share with you again. While we watch at this. So you can see here this comment on the, this was even on my channel. This is now on the Sean Hawkins channel. Hey! Instantly refresh it, instantly gone. So you can see it's no me that's deleting any of these things. It's either YouTube or these gimps. So that's me trying to post it on my own channel again. Gone. So, what the fuck's happening there? So you can all see it. It's not me. So I'll leave it up to you to figure out what the fuck's going on there. How can YouTube be stopping me from commenting in my own fucking videos? And then guys like Sean Hawkins, crack addicts that run about spewing jargon. As soon as you put them right, gone. Comments are gone. This is the whole point of this globe cult. Slanted. Everything to favour them. This is what they need. They're so fucking weak and pathetic that they need all this fuckery to try and prop them up and support them. You're just a laughing stock. A bunch of wee weak dweeby cunts. People like me just laugh at you. Well, what's up? We can see what's happening, Martin Allen. I've shown it exactly for how it happened. No editing. So they can spew all this drivel all they like. It's us that are being censored. It's us that are being fucked with. YouTube's obviously in cahoots with them. Exactly, it is their platform, certainly. I'm just pointing it out though. Because they'll run about saying it's us that are fucking deleting and hiding and this, that and the other. It's no me. I'll meet any of these people square on. At any time. Any place. Well, it might be Andy Kaufman. I never put any swear words on it. The day Rickus Swaticus, exactly mate. It's rigged. Let me check here, inbox. Daniel, you want a link? Let me see here. Exactly beyond belief. You've seen how many times I copy and pasted it. Still going. Is there sound? Should have sound. Can you hear me? Somebody's thinking, aye, party pack, cheers. Thank you, thank you. So somebody requested it, like that, I don't know if it was Danny or some. The link's been sent. Daniel. UHV, cheers. Cheers, X Crate. Right, cheers, everybody. I'm just checking there. It says Trackmatic. Trackmatic's always got something interesting to say. I don't know why people don't support channels like Trackmatic. He's always articulate, always has something relevant to say, and I enjoy listening to it. So, you know, channels like that should be, you know, I don't know why you want to encourage people to go and start, you know, sharing these different channels. There's so many that come here. Maybe we should have a night of that. We'll have a wee discussion about, you know, the contents and who I listen to and what I think's worthwhile. Aye, cheers Neil McCrob, whatever that means. Happy new arbitrary date. That doesn't mean fuck all. No worries, mate, I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. Oh, I'm still waiting on this person coming to the hangout. Zamil, aye, that happened to you as well, is it? So, the water table, what was I looking at that for again? The water table. I can't remember right now. I'll come back to that at some point. So, you should understand what the celestial sphere is. The tools of navigation. Now they're planar geometric tools. They're not non-Euclidean tools or instruments. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going? Hey, hold on to fix this camera, it's on the OBS.
Yeah, can you hear me all right?
I can hear you fine, man.
Great, man. Great. Yeah, I just been following you for a little while, man. I love what your content is. Hate the fact that you got so many haters there in that content box.
Well.
It's quite irritating. But tell you, one thing that's a little bit more irritating than that is actually trying to talk to loved ones about this topic. It's like people are so just closed-minded. You can't even get any kind of relevant reasoning out of folks for the most part why they believe what they believe, other than they see it on the TV. Mm-hmm. And when you give them a few of the facts that totally disprove this bullshit, it's like they don't want to hear it anymore. Just stop. Don't tell me anymore. I'm good. And then you hear, well, facts can be interpreted any which way you want, and people are really good at convincing one way or the other, and it's come on, man.
It's just a cop out. It's always a cop out, That's the thing. Yeah. If things are subject to interpretation, it means they're not fully understood and quantified properly. So, that's when it comes to the sophistry aspects, then of course, because it's all based on language. So you can use your rhetoric, your sophistry in order to convince people of absurdities, Yeah. But when it's a demonstrable, thing, it's no subject to interpretation. As I keep pointing out to these people, is it subject to your interpretation if I drive a 40 ton vehicle at you at 100 miles an hour? There's no interpretation to what's going to happen. There's going to be a physical consequence.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look for them to give you actual evidence, what as you as a man to man can point out to me, it's really nothing. It's really pretty airy fairy nonsense. Like, come on, man, you're gonna look at the image on the TV and say, oh well, that's gotta be true. It's gotta be true. Come on. They say I talked to my father about this, and he says, well, how many scientists, how many doctors, how many professional people, you know, and he kind of puffs up like he's defending himself a little bit. It's like,
that's
are you giving your authority away to everybody else? Everybody else has got to be the one to tell you how it is. Like, well, let's go to the priest and put the priest in between me and some kind of divine connection. You know, give away your power. Give away your power.
That's it. That's what these people always forget. They always say, oh, these thousands and thousands of people, they're not actively lying first and foremost, and they've also been subject to the education system that's told them how to think and what to believe and what to put their attention to. So it doesn't mean anything. It's just the same old fallacious reasoning, of appealing to consensus or appealing to authority. It's that simple. It's a flaw on their part, and they're too blind to see it.
I don't know if you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but I know that my children have friends that come over and I show them things, and they're much more open to going, wow, that's interesting, or never thought of it that way. You talk to people who have been believing this, people who grew up watching the moon landings and stuff like that. They're diehard, I don't know what you'd have to give them to show them that this isn't really the case, that they've been hoodwinked.
It's just a product.
And it's disappointing. It's disappointing.
No, it's
a product.
It's a franchise. It's like Star Wars. Star Wars is a franchise. It's a product. This whole space travel nonsense is just the exact same thing. It's a product, a franchise of entertainment for adults.
Yeah, oh yeah, and everything you see affects how you believe, your frame of reality, the lens you look through. Go ahead. Grow up loving Star Trek and Star Wars and see how hard it is to peel your mind away from outer space and aliens and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
I've since taken all my Star Wars posters down.
There's nothing wrong as long as people have got the ability to discern between their indulgence and what they think's, factual reality. It's a huge difference,
Let me get this high-speed internet connection going.
So have you been about for a while, or have you just kind of new?
Over the last year, I come across this material, and man, it's made me question everything. Gone right back into looking at things like our Declaration of Independence over here, and things like the Magna Carta. Yeah. And just who's in charge.
And do you think it's held your life back in any way, or do you think it's stopped you from looking at other aspects of reality and other interests?
You know what? It's not that I've been disinterested in other philosophies or other things, or it's held my life back, but in a way, it's kind of encapsulated your imagination and kind of made you think that this whole thing is much more vast, this whole experience of being conscious in this world. And you think about all the universes that are supposedly out there and all the bullshit that they tell you, and it does in a way make you feel insignificant. Now, I wasn't brought up in any belief system, so on my own I have researched everything, and I enjoy philosophy. I don't think anybody has the right answer. I think maybe there's some nuggets of wisdom here and there, but I think they're all control mechanisms at the end of the day.
Exactly, that's what I think as well. But the reason I'm asking is this is the new angle that this globular cult is trying to come in at. That they're now trying to present people who are apparently on a U-turn and, coming out with statements like, oh, looking at this topic held my life back. There's other more important things to be looking at, although none of them can ever give me any specifics. When I keep pointing to these people, well, the encompassing, aspect of everything that people are looking at is that they do not understand the workings of their own mind. That's the bigger picture. That's the fundamental aspect that people are missing and overlooking. So it always comes down to, understanding your own mind and how you process information. That's first and foremost. But this looks like the angle they're going to come at now. We've got these apparent U-turned people who are coming out making statements like, oh, looking at the earth shape held my life back, I lost friends and family, I wasn't getting on with my life. What that translates to is that they never had
the weak.
Aye, and they've lost the delusion, and they somehow want the delusion back again because these things that they're calling a life, talking about philosophy, they don't even know where they are. They don't know what this whole thing's about, but yet they're going and chasing what they're calling a life. Well, let's word it correctly. It's a delusion, a distraction that you prefer. That's exactly what it is,
Yeah. And there's lots of distractions out there. Every flavor for any kind of personality, anything you want.
Yeah.
There's a distraction for you. And when I first came across this, honestly, I thought that this whole level Earth, flat Earth thing was a conspiracy. And of course, you see on the YouTube channels the first 150 fucking videos are all debunkers or people that are making fun of the whole topic. You really have to dig deep, and having great content doesn't excuse childish behavior.
Yeah.
But there are some really great people out there that put good content out. I think you have to take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah, exactly. If you can't verify things for yourself, if you don't have a practical reference in order for you to understand it for yourself, then why are you putting your attention to it? And again, that's a symptom of the state of human beings. Just as you say, they go to YouTube and the first 150 videos they get is propaganda. That's because they understand that human beings don't have the ability to discern properly, and they're not operating from logical rationale. They're operating from emotionally impulsive, nonsense. So,
and when something questions their whole frame of reality, they really want the first answer that's security blanket back into place firmly.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like to dig deep and question the things that they hold as true or have taken for granted as true.
Yeah.
You start talking to people, and it's really challenging to get that cognitive dissonance to go away, to get them to open up and have an intellectually honest thing and say, all right, well, hey, I really can't point you in any direction. And, they got a couple weak statements like the boat's going over the curve, and you explain what the reality is. And it's still like, well, 95% of the scientists don't really agree on that. And so I can't put my faith in that. But you could actually go back and research for yourself. There's a long list of people that have been disputing this since they came up with this philosophy, this idea, this concept. Yeah. But attention spans are short.
That's it. Yeah. So that's the thing. You have to make it as potent and as sharp and to the point and indirect if you possibly can, if you're trying to affect them. So, but that's what I'll be working on in the future. I'm going to do a series of short, sharp, jabs that people can maybe utilize and share. So hopefully it'll be useful to people.
Yeah, absolutely. The short videos might be a great idea. Maybe you can pump a few more out.
Aye, just anything to keep busy and keep these motherfuckers jumping. As I say, just having the presence here is enough to make them fucking squirm and dance. So that's what's going to be continually happening. So
and hey, just to make a short little note, I was getting pretty irritated with that guy making all the comments on your video, dude. Totally interrupting all that bullshit. I went and found his little channel and just left one comment saying how childish he was. And the motherfucker responded saying he was going to find me because I posted with my business YouTube site, right? My little company. He said he's going to come down to my city and call me out to a job and punch me in the face.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. And then he immediately deleted the comment, right? But, I get it in my email.
Aye, well, that's all good. There's a few people like that I'll be confronting, but I'll not be physically assaulting them. I'm just going to, confront them and see if they're big shots. It's like the Charlie Zelenoff scenario. These people that bump their gums and lie about you and slander you on the internet and then think that they're never going to have any recourse. Well, I'm afraid to say that there's a few of them that I know where they are, I know what they look like, so they'll be getting confronted. See how they act when they're put in the spot.
Well, it's easy to talk shit when you're a keyboard warrior, man.
Exactly. There's a few like that. So, but listen, mate, I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. My eyes are starting to, go. I've been up with the wee man since 5 o'clock. So, I'm going to have to cut this and get myself off. My attention's starting to waver. But I appreciate you coming, everybody. Nice chatting.
Thank you. Next time, see ya.
Defos, mate. Anytime. Cheers. I can feel my eyes going that gluey, fucking sticky way. I have to tap out Rory McFizz. It's just getting that way. Anybody that's got children that actually has a relationship with them should understand these things, you know. Even up since 5 o'clock this morning, I'm still a bit kind of bunged up as well, so it's difficult to keep your attention, you know. So anyway, cheers everybody. As I say, I'll probably be back on Saturday. But as I said before, the only difference is that there will not be any posting of... That's what other thing I meant to say. So many people asked me not to bleach the channel. So I've left it as is for now, you know, under the requests of other people. It's just me, you know, it's like, I feel as if I want to tidy it up a wee bit and get rid of some of the dead air that's there. But there's a lot of people that are asking for them to be left, so I'm just going to leave it as is. And we'll see what happens in the future. So, as I say, Saturday, it all depends on you people. If there's people out there that want to come in and add to it and have a discussion about whatever aspect he thinks relevant or important, I'm willing to have that discussion. I'll always have my wee introduction and my own thing to say, but if I don't get any requests to the email address, then I'll not be posting anything in the live chat. So it's either going to be me, you know, speaking for the first half an hour and then interacting with the chat box and probably having a short evening, or we can have a discussion about whatever you like. Again, remember, people are mannered and respectful and decent, then you get the same in return. It's reciprocal here at this platform. I'm just going to mirror whatever you offer me. So, appreciated people. Take care of yourselves. Ta-ta.